Hi, this is Lucy, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. Welcome. It is the month of July, and we are officially in the second half of the year. In fact, somebody did say to me yesterday and coming on to today that it is the 182nd point 5 day. Is that even proper English for us to be able to use? I'm not sure, but I have been informed that indeed it is the 182nd day of the year. And that just means that we are right bang in the middle. And this is the time, the things that we have done beginning of the year. So it is a month that we want to be able to take stock of what we have done. In this series, we are focusing on the areas of our lives that need our attention, especially now that we have time to course correct. And in this particular one today, which is all about public speaking, in fact, I can already see my guest there. Welcome, Eric. So super to see you there. How are you today?
I am good, Lucy. First of all, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you for the sound check. I hear you loud and clear. I see you so clearly. And it's so good to be here with you, Eric. As you can hear, his name is Eric and his full name is Eric Muriithi. And today it's all about taking back control of public speaking. Now, Eric, you are no stranger to public speaking. This I know for a fact because we have worked together. I have seen you in action. I have followed you on, or rather stalked you, but I have followed you on social media. I followed you on social media, on your WhatsApp status, and I see the pride that you take in just being part of public speaking, in being in a situation where you are sharing your information, you are engaging people, you are teaching people, you are making people happy. In fact, the one that we were on together, you were so full of energy. You know, I thought to myself, now that he's done all this, where is he going to get all the air in his lungs to be able to speak? And then you took the microphone and you just blew me away. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Eric.
The pleasure is mine, Lucy, and I'm delighted to be part of what you're doing. I like the topic, taking back control. You know, just being on the driver's seat and ensuring that you are the author of your destiny. So it's exciting to be here. Thank you.
I love that, the author of your destiny. In fact, I better start writing down things here because I know you're just going to be dropping some nuggets for us here and I may just miss it. Yeah, so there, we're already writing the first one. Guys, take out your pens and paper and just write it down. Already, Eric is telling us we are the authors of our destiny. Well, Eric, fun fact, and I know I'm repeating myself, but I was super excited when somebody said this to me, that we're already right smack in the middle of the year. And the middle of the year would be 182.5. You know, that's just the full year divided by 2. So between yesterday and today, we are in between that perfect balance of the year. And what better time to start with this conversation of taking back control? So I will set the framework here, Eric. Usually, typically, as a human being, when there's a new calendar, we tend to get carried away with saying, I'm going to do this year differently. I'm going to work out in another way this way. I'm going to look for a different perspective. We like to mark our new beginnings with declarations. So we declared with our New Year's resolutions in January. And we said what we said. A lot was said. And perhaps we were good for the first month. And then by maybe February, we began to, fall off and go back into old habits. And this is very human. The thing is, we need to have empathy for ourselves and give ourselves permission to be kinder to ourselves. However, we then come to the middle of of the month. And with my corporate background, there has to be some kind of measurement. Now that we are where we are, and you said what you said you were going to do, how is that working for you? So this is a great time for us to just come back and course correct. There's that beautiful term, course correct, which allows us to go back, realign, and maybe accept newer things in our lives, how to do things differently. So one of the things of taking back control is public speaking. Some of us made roadside declarations, perhaps, that we're going to be seen more visibly, if that is proper in the sentence. We're going to be more visible, and the way we're going to do it is by stepping up, showing up, and stepping out, being a better version of ourselves. And public speaking could have been somebody's wish list out there. And if it is you that I'm talking to out there, because I can actually see a lot of you coming in. Eddie, great to see you. Adhiambo, Date, great to see you back. Jerry, Maria, it's been a minute. Kanyevu, asante sana Kanyevu for joining. Rose Kibe, I hope you're keeping well. Welcome, guys, and thank you so much for joining in today. We are going to look at the power of public speaking and what it is that we need to do, the 3 key things. So we start off with just acknowledging that the fear of public speaking is the world's #1 phobia, second to death. I mean, death then comes second, the fear of death, but it's public speaking, you know? And I like the way Eric is nodding his head, and this guy is a guru. Anyway, it's that thing of when you're standing up in front of people and suddenly it's either butterflies or it's a thin sweat or it's going blank and you don't remember your words, or your legs wanting to give in, or even if you do remember the words, there's no connection between your mind and your mouth, and all these things. And it is believed that it affects 75% of people across the globe. Eric, what 3 things can you help us? Because we need help. These are things we declared beginning of the year. We even put them on vision boards. Help us, Eric. How come you get to do this so effortlessly, so professionally? How did you get here? And what are these 3 things that you can leave us with that we can just practice on?
Yeah, Lucy, you know, it's interesting that people want to get very simple answers in very complex situations, you know. People want to know the 3 things you can do to have a successful marriage.
Yes.
You know, when you get married, you realize that there's 76,000 things that have to be done. But I guess there's also the journey carries wisdom, and everybody's journey carries wisdom. You know, there's, I mean, I had someone say that the best teacher, that experience is not the best teacher. Experience is the most painful teacher. Because if you have to experience everything to learn, then you'll be suffering a lot of pain. The more prudent thing to do is to learn from somebody else's experience. And I guess I have a tad bit of experience, and hopefully I can crystallize those 3 things. And as you said, first of all, let me preface this by acknowledging some statistics. I casually went into LinkedIn and looked at, in 2023, the top 10 skills that are on demand in the marketplace are: number 1, management, communication, customer service, leadership, sales. Let me stop there. You know, communication comes number 2 on the top skills that anybody needs in the marketplace in the 21st century. So if you're going to thrive as a business person, as an employee, as a leader, you need communication skills.
Yes.
And I belong to a club called Toastmasters, which is the world's biggest public speaking club. And I've seen 2 Toastmasters here. I've seen Nyevu and I've seen Sarah Adhiambo. It's so good to see you guys. Karibuni. And so communication is a top is a top 2 skill that anybody needs. And I also saw some other statistics from analytics.com. You know, in the 21st century, we are fearful. We are like, that will what I know or what I do be taken over by computers? The good news is, according to another article from analyticinsights.net, talks about eight skills that cannot be taken over by computers or robots. And interpersonal communication skills comes number 3. Creativity is another one. Because for you to speak, you need to understand your audience. You need a lot of emotional intelligence, and computers use logic, not necessarily emotional intelligence. So the good news is that if you can be a great communicator, if you can learn to pass your ideas to different audiences, you have a skill that cannot be taken over by robots and computers. That means you can survive the current world. But as you said, our challenge is we have to acknowledge that this is a big fear. 75% of people in the world are completely petrified by public speaking. It's actually called glossophobia. The right name is glossophobia. It has a name, by the way, because so many people in the world face it. And I want to start by saying that I also used to be completely petrified when I come before an audience. And my wife is on this call, and she'll tell you that every time before I go on stage, I have a little bit of nervousness. And it's healthy. You know, I think it's part of being human to be a little nervous.
Yeah.
So the point is not to get rid of all the nervousness. In fact, someone said that we all have butterflies. So the goal is to make the butterflies fly in one formation. Let them fly in an order that will not confuse you when you're speaking. So I think, first of all, is to acknowledge that you're up against a big problem that many people face. It's the fear of being in front of an audience. So don't ignore it, acknowledge it. I think once you acknowledge it, if I can give one tip of fighting glossophobia, is something that I call vaccine therapy. You know, yes, and
did you say vaccine? Did you say vaccine empathy?
Vaccine therapy.
Therapy.
Yes. Okay. So you know, we're coming from COVID space, and most of us got the COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
And what I'm geek, but a vaccine really is a subtle form of the virus. You know, you actually got COVID to prevent COVID.
Yes.
And so when you get the subtle form of the virus, when the virus comes, you've already built antibodies for it. So my number 1 tip for fighting glossophobia is expose yourself to a place where you're speaking before an audience that is non-threatening. You know, don't go straight to become a keynote speaker or become an MC at a big conference. That's gonna kill you. But what you want to do is expose yourself to a smaller stage that is non-threatening, like leading your department's team meeting, weekly meeting. You know, these are guys you know every day, like leading your family meeting. Like for myself, being a service leader at my church, you know, it's non-threatening, all right? And the more you expose yourself to it, you're exposing yourself like a vaccine. It's still a stage, and there's still an audience. So the more you're used to that, when you have a bigger audience, you kind of have built the skills to navigate a bigger audience. So and people always tell me, Eric, you know, give me an opportunity. Can I come to something you're doing? And what people forget is there's opportunities all over you. You know, that Nyumba Kumi security for your neighborhood is an opportunity for you to go and become chairman. At least express your people in the neighborhood. There's 20 people there, and you need to articulate the fact that the drainage of this village needs to be well handled. You know, that's speaking before audience. So that's a hard thing. Kill glossophobia by exposing yourself to a subtle form, a non-threatening audience.
Well,
now let's move straight to.
I absolutely like that. I just wanted to grab something. You said glossophobia is the fear of public speaking.
Yes.
Okay, and you're encouraging us to have vaccine therapy, in that we inject ourselves with this scenario, with this fear, by going into a non-threatening audience. Is that what I understand?
Correct.
So we are practicing.
Very well said. A non-threatening audience, especially an audience that is not paying you. You know, anybody who's paying you to speak expects you to deliver value for the value they're giving you. And this is something that I find that my generation does not want to do. No one wants to do free gigs. Everybody wants to be paid.
Yes.
But you see, free gigs give you practice opportunities. And the more practice opportunities you have, the less likely you will fail when you're in a paid gig. So do free things, do many free gigs. Go speak to your high school. Your high school, you are at least 5 years older than those guys. So, I mean, your head teacher will be happy to have an old boy or an old girl there to give tips of how to pass your exams, or how to go through high school without being crazy. Or, you know, that's something. There's always something you can tell your proper high school. So try that audience. Yeah.
Oh, that is just so amazing. Okay, so is it that we are understanding our audience at this point by us going into these non-threatening situations? The hope here is that we have the vaccine therapy. That's what I'm understanding. Or is it about building my confidence? What is it?
It's confidence, first of all. Before you, I mean, if you went to a Kenyan university, you might find a professor who, you know, has a doctorate, maybe two, but cannot express themselves.
Yes.
So they have the content, but they don't have the confidence. So you want to start with the confidence first. Talk somewhere, talk, you know. So that first.
Okay.
Now, let's go to three quick tips.
Yeah.
Once you've dealt with the butterflies, now you have an audience. What do you tell these guys?
Yeah.
Okay, let me try and stick to three things.
Yeah.
So the first one is understand your audience. This is understanding your who. And audiences are so different.
Yeah.
You know, you speak to teenagers differently from the way you speak to 5-year-old kids. You speak to corporate people differently from the way you speak at your church. You speak at your church differently from the way you speak at a high school. So the first thing you want to understand is who's your audience. And eventually, you need to find your tribe, because there's a specific people that we appeal to. We can't appeal to everybody on Instagram. So you have to understand your audience per event, but also understand the people that need to hear your message. You know, your community, your tribe, the guys who resonate with your message. You know, if you're passionate about the girl child and empowerment, that message might not resonate at my high school, which is an all-boys high school. Yeah. So, you know, you've got to understand the audience. Very critical. So know who they are, how many they are, what do they like, what are the key messages, what are the trending words. You know, every industry has jargon. Accountants speak a certain way, bankers speak a certain way, hoteliers speak a certain way, and have certain expectations from a speaker. So the better you understand your audience, the better you can speak their language, the better you can communicate the matters that matter to them.
Very true.
Okay?
Sure.
Let me move to the second tip. I know there's so much I can say about the audience, but allow me to move to the second tip, which is, now you know your audience. So develop your message.
Yeah.
Right? So you know that you want to speak to the Kenya Bankers Association, and you know that the people who will be in that audience are middle to top level managers. Yeah. Okay, and they want to know what are the trends in banking, and maybe they want to know something in your specialty, maybe artificial intelligence. So next, and what in your developing your message, understand the purpose. And research has shown that there's four main purposes that any speech can have. People speak to either inform, educate, entertain, or to inspire. So you want to understand, are you here to inform these guys? Because if you're here to inform them, you need to get a lot of research, statistics, case studies, because the audience is looking for information, or you want to inform them. Then the other purpose could be to persuade them. All right, you want them to adopt a certain idea, you want them to buy a certain product. So if you're out to persuade them, then now you've got to show other people who are using that information or that knowledge, how it's working for them, you know, and these guys for multi-level marketing do a good job with that. They show you a guy who was just a regular guy, and now the guy is earning 10 million shillings a month, and this guy
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Yeah, and if it's worked for Lucy, it probably can work for me. So if you're doing something that is persuasive, you've got to bring in stories of other people like them are benefiting and excelling. You've also got to bring in like buy now offers. You know, you've got to say that if you subscribe today, there is a 50% off. Or if you buy this product today, there is a deal. So that's a persuasive message. All right. Then the third purpose would be to entertain. To entertain is light. You know, here you're just looking at making them laugh. Maybe you're coming to celebrate somebody's 50th birthday. So you want to recount, you want to roast them, recount their journey, depending on how you know them. So, but you need to be careful as a speaker is not to mix your purposes. You know, if you're here to inform, then you now end up being a comedian, you confuse people. And that's the thing, again, we want to appreciate as Kenyans. Sometimes we are under pressure to be like other people. You want to be like Churchill, or I don't know who. You want to be a comedian, but you're here to inform. So stick to your purpose. So inform, educate, entertain. The last purpose is inspire. If you're here to inspire, you want to tell everybody that yes, we can. You want to pick them from the ground and tell them you can start from down and go up. You know, because you want to lift them. You want to show them possibility. You want to show them 4 things they can do to rise from grass to grace. So in your message, before you even say what your topic is, you have to be clear on your purpose. Because if your purpose is not clear, your destination will not be clear.
Wow.
You know, if you don't
lock your
purpose, you will go anywhere. You will start a speech that you're persuading, then you end up entertaining, because now you're happy because people are laughing at your jokes. You know, now you're very caught up as a speaker in becoming a comedian, but you are here to really give people facts and figures. These are lawyers. They want to know facts and figures. They want to know statistics. They want to know facts, not stories. Because when you're talking about inspiration, it's mostly stories, not facts. Okay, so you get a message, and in your message, be clear about your purpose. Once you have a purpose, take a topic. Take a topic. The topic is the movie title. You know, people come because of the title that you give it. So put a movie title that people will be attracted to.
Wow,
you know?
So true, so true.
Yeah, because you might have great information, but you title it wrong. You know, so people want a captivating title. So you develop your message, and quick things you can do here is be very clear about your purpose. There's just 4 general purposes: to educate, to persuade, to entertain, and to inspire. All right, then get your topic. Get your topic so that people are attracted to that. Then finally, my 3rd tip is deliver with power. All right?
Yes.
We call this camera, lights, action. Now you're on stage. You know?
Oh,
now you're on stage.
By now,
If you've got to go for it.
Eric,
you know?
by now, whatever it is, we talked about those butterflies that now they are going in formation. I can assure you, when somebody says action, that is when now the butterflies begin to have a life of their own. Oh, dear me, right. So deliver with passion.
Deliver with passion.
Okay.
I suggest, and we do this a lot in Toastmasters, let somebody introduce you. You know, let somebody come and talk about your credentials. So that you don't spend too much time saying, I am Eric, I have a PhD, I am a coach, I am doing what. And also in Africa, People don't like people who blow their horns. But it's okay if you blow your horns.
Yes.
So if I'm coming on Lucy's show,
Yeah.
I give Lucy my profile so that
Yeah.
Lucy talks about who I am, what I do, what I've achieved. You know,
Yeah.
so let somebody introduce you. It also builds anticipation for you and keeps you from talking too much about yourself, because you will disconnect with many people if it's all about you. Everybody is selfish when they come to a talk, to a speech. Everybody wants to know what's in it for me. People don't want to know how good you are. People want to know how good I'm going to be.
Yeah.
So let somebody introduce you. That's a good tip. So have your profile, and as a speaker, you need to have a little profile, just 1 or 2 paragraphs or 3 at most that speak about you and your credentials, and always let somebody else introduce you. So you've been introduced and you're on stage. Before we go into the theatrics of the stage, you want to structure your speech. This is basic information that we learn in primary, but we forget it as you grow older. A good speech has a head, a body, and a conclusion.
A composition.
So, yes, you've got, maybe you're talking about personal branding.
Yes.
You know, you can't just go straight into 3 tips of being a great personal brand. You need to find a good way to introduce that. I have a talk on personal branding, and one of the ways I introduce it is I talk about 10 of the, according to Forbes, 10 of the most powerful brands in the world, and I list Samsung, I list iPhone, I list Google, and then I bring it home. I say, if we were to talk about the 10 most powerful brands in Kenya, what would that be? And people start talking about Safaricom, people start talking about Unilever, EABL. Then I bring it down further and say, if people can be described as brands, who are the biggest brands, people brands in Kenya? Wow. So you see what I'm doing is that before I get into my tips of personal branding, I have taken you globally, I brought you locally, and I brought it to people.
Wow,
so now you're ready
powerful.
to hear about how you can become a great brand. So find a good way to introduce. And a good way to introduce is some good research, maybe statistics, a story, a quote. So find something that just talks about the message before you start the message. Then now move to your body. Move to your body. A lot of people cannot listen to 10 things. 10 things. And you spoke about New Year's resolution. Do you know the number 1 reason why people don't achieve the New Year's resolution? It's because they have 10 resolutions. You're not going to achieve 10 things. But when you have 3 things, you probably will achieve those 3 things. So a good speaker has 3 to 5 main lessons. 3 to 5. Notice I'm giving you 3 tips of how to be a great public speaker. I'm not giving you 15 tips. And I probably can come up with 20. But 3 you will remember. 3 you will remember. So a good speaker in your body, focus on, it's called the rule of 3.
Yes.
If you really have to stretch it, make it 5. And if you feel there are 10, collapse them into 3 to 5.
I like that.
Collapse them into 3 to 5 points.
I like that.
So that's your body, and your conclusion is akin to a man's last words. People remember your dad's last words. You know, your relative, before they died, what your relative said, no one wants to go against it. So your last impression on stage counts as good as your first impression. So when you come in powerfully with your introduction, you give your main points, but you also close in powerfully with your conclusion. So don't just say, thank you, go to my website. No, that's a weak way to close any speech. Don't even say thank you. If you completely have to close casually, summarize what you've just said. Say, I want to remind you of the 3 tips of being a great public speaker, which is number 1, understand your audience. Number 2, develop a message. 3, deliver powerfully. So you have your structured speech, and then on the theatrics of your performance, I dress up. People address you the way you're dressed. So look good. I know you've watched Mark Zuckerberg in his blue shirt, blue t-shirt, and his jeans, and you think you don't have to be too serious. Well, The day you make $1 billion shillings, the day you have $1 billion shillings in your account, you can wear a t-shirt and people will listen to you. But before you get to that, people are judging you from head to toe. So guys are looking at how you're dressed, your hairstyle, your
Yeah.
jewelry, your shoes,
And
before
we
they
are
can even decide
Africans.
if
We are
they are gonna.
Africans. So it's even
Yeah,
more
yeah.
important.
Yeah, and since people say that people judge you in the first 7 seconds of appearance. So even if, before you even go to your 5 points, people
Yeah.
have decided if or not they will listen to you. So
Yes.
you've
Yes.
got to dress the part. You've got to
Okay.
look like the authority that you are. You've got to look like your brand. You've got to dress the part. And
Yeah.
finally, in delivering with power, I know a lot of people want to show up like I don't know what it's called. It's called grand appearance. When the whole school, now you're the guest speaker and you come. I mean that's great. But the best thing to do is to come before the audience. So that you know, okay, this is theater, people are sitting theater style, or people are sitting around tables, or okay, this is my projector, my microphone will be this one handheld, or is it on the lectern? So you know your space. And the more comfortable you are with your space, the better you will be at delivery. So forget about this showmanship that people do for grand appearances. Show up early so that you're comfortable with your area. You can
Yeah.
go back and maybe to the restaurant and have your drink later.
Yeah.
So back to those three things, just to summarize. The first one is know your audience.
Yeah.
You've got to absolutely know who you're speaking to. The second one is develop a message. You're closer to developing your message when you understand your purpose. Am I here to inform, persuade, entertain, or inspire? Then finally, go for it. Develop, deliver with power. Have a topic, structure your speech, head, body, conclusion, then dress up and master your stage. Yeah, those are the three
Wow.
tips
But I mean
I'll give you.
that is so amazing, Eric, and it has flowed so well. And you've made it sound like I said in the beginning. You are such a professional, and you're so effortless in doing this that even now in your delivery, yani, we can only be converted at this rate. We can only be converted, but you know, and there's so many things that I am taking away and things that I can immediately apply. And I'm hoping that for the audience, you're feeling the same. Take one thing, you know, forget even about the three that Eric is talking about. What is the one thing that you're taking away? I heard very clearly, Eric, you saying that everybody gets butterflies. And I remember, this may be a terrible example to give, but I'm going to give it anyway. I remember there was an interview that Beyonce gave, and she was talking about the nervousness she feels before she goes on stage. And I mean, people are shocked, even the interview. I mean, you're a world stage performer. You do things so well. You're doing it effortlessly. How then are you becoming nervous? She talked about the butterflies. And today, you have actually talked about the same butterflies, but you have given me a different picture. Yes, we all have butterflies, whoever we are. The whole thing is to acknowledge them and be able to manage them so that they can actually fly in some sort of formation. And for me, what was going to make that sink home for me was when you talked about communicating with passion and confidence in letting somebody else introduce you. Now, when somebody else, I was walking it through with you. When somebody else introduces me, it calms me down because I'm standing there and they're talking about me and I'm thinking, oh, wow, yes, that is me. Yes, I have achieved that. Just that self-affirmation at that point that, yes, that is me, I have done that, already would calm me down. So this is a takeaway for me. Of course, there's so many more, but that's the one that hit me, the butterflies, the formation, and then somebody being able to introduce you so that when you're coming on that stage, you're already aligned to speak. I absolutely love this, but you did not wake up a public speaker, Eric. How did this happen? Did you just crawl out of that baby crib and start talking? How did you get into this? Did you have to study? Why are you so confident, Eric?
Yeah, I certainly did not wake up a public speaker. For half my life, I've been a scaredy cat. I've been petrified. I'm one of those people who was never a prefect,
No way.
never a club leader. Even in high school, I never took any of those roles because I was always in the background. I found my voice after I was 20, and I have to say, and this is interesting because I didn't find my confidence in speaking. I found my confidence as a dancer on stage.
Okay.
After high school, I joined a dance group. And, you remember the vaccine therapy?
Yes.
Because the fear of public speaking is very close to the fear of being on a stage,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you can go on a stage, you're actually up against the same fear, but in a subtle form, especially because you're in a crowd.
Yeah.
Because I danced in a crowd. It's the same as singing in a choir. When you sing in a choir, you're with 20 people. So even if you mime, no one can know you're not singing.
Yeah.
So after high school, I joined a dance group, which helped me a great deal in performing arts and being on stage. And I recommend anybody who wants to be a speaker, join a performance art.
Yeah.
Play in a band, sing in a choir, dance in a dance group, do something that moves the attention from you to a group.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
Then, yeah, when grow yourself in the group, then one day you'll be the soloist. One day you will be introducing the group. But to more practical, something that has supported me in my speaking journey is Toastmasters. Toastmasters is the world's leading public speaking club. And the philosophy or mission of Toastmasters is learning to speak in a supporting community. Learning to speak in a small group of guys, usually not very small, like 20 people in a club, who are all also aspiring to be better speakers. So you learn from them. You see somebody on stage every week and you notice, okay, so this is how to excel, this is what not to do. Then you have mentors, you have evaluators who tell you after every speech, Eric, this is what you're good at, these are the areas that you can grow. And that environment really, really supports you, because the 844 system is helped us get knowledge, but it did not help us express what we know. So you want to be in a club like Toastmasters that supports you to express your authenticity in a non-threatening environment. And for those of you who are curious, you can Google Toastmasters, www.toastmasters.org, and you'll find a club somewhere near you. We have clubs all over Kenya, all over East Africa, all over Africa, all over the world.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Eric, because that was going to be my next question. Where then can I go to hone my skill, or if I'm not on stage dancing or singing, in what formal place can I go? Because wherever it is I'm working, perhaps as a corporate individual, I need to present reports, but then I'm so afraid just to stand up. I have the content, but I'm unable to communicate with passion, with confidence, when there's more than the mirror in front of me. And this is something so real. So what I loved, and this is a message for everybody, it is a learnable skill. Eric, you found your voice after 20, and you had a certain environment where you were moving the attention from you to others. This is something we can do every day, and you already give us different scenarios where we can do it, whether it is in your nyumba kumi, whether it is in your religious places, whether it is in your place of work, to be able to do that. But I think the crowning of it all with your story is that there's a place I can go for structure, and that is Toastmasters. Thank you so much for being with us. I can't let you go without a call to action. What is your call to action to anyone aspiring to be a public speaker?
My call to action is summarized in a quote I had, and I don't know the author, but it says that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the ability to act in spite of fear. So I would say, like how Nike puts it, just do it. Throw yourself into the ring, throw yourself into the deep sea. That's how you learn how to swim. So don't be frozen without fear. it's not moving away. When you wake up in the morning, it's still going to be there. So you're better off acknowledging it and acting in spite of it.
Wow.
The more you do it, the more you conquer that fear. And let me tell you also something about fear. Fear is interesting. When you conquer one fear, you conquer many fear. You conquer all the cousins, you know. So you find that you're afraid of risks, you're afraid of public speaking, you're afraid of heights, you're afraid of snakes.
Yeah.
But when you conquer public speaking, you're like, okay, now I can face snakes. Now I can try and look at heights. Because you feel like you've dealt with a giant. You're now ready to deal with another giant. So go for it, try it, and you're always surrounded by people who are happy to help you. I am certainly happy to help you, or anybody who would reach out to me. And there's so many other people. When you see somebody good on stage like Lucy, reach out to them. You'll be shocked. Most people who are truly good at what they do are happy to help somebody else become good at what they do.
Thank you so much for that shout out and for that CTA call to action. We really appreciate you, and you can see he is ready to help. You can find him on his IG handle, which is Eric Muriithi K. It's actually here on the screen. You can have a look at it. Just request him right now and you can already connect. Thank you so much, Eric, for this session. We definitely are going home with something that we can take back control on. Well, guys, that's it. You have heard from a public speaker. This episode will be up on our LMC YouTube channel by this evening. When you're there, remember, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. And also share, because many people can benefit from this, as Eric has said, from me, from him, so that somebody somewhere needs to hear this message now. Tuesday Talks at 3 turned 3 last week, and we were giving away lovely gifts, of which, thank you so much, Eric, of which we are already getting the winners on board and scheduling coaching sessions, trainings, and copies of my book. And I keep on saying that, and then I look around, I don't have my book with me, but you can see my books right behind you there, right behind me there. And it's just amazing how we have had such messages of congratulations, such warmth from all of you. I want to appreciate you. I absolutely love being here on Tuesday Talks at 3. So, have you felt like someone has the remote control of your life? Well, if this resonates with you, you want to tune in to us and be able to get a chance to be part of the Awakening Self program. You want to watch out on our social media platforms. We are running a session from the 17th to the 21st, I beg your pardon, of July. And you want to sign up. We're putting up the Google form from tomorrow. You will go in there and just sign up. We're opening up these spots tomorrow. Do not miss out. You want to jump into it. Let us help build one another. And until our next week, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.